Ever feel like you're living in your own personal Groundhog Day? It's like you're stuck in the same year on a loop, and only the scenery changes. You get a new job, but there's that same old conflict with your boss. You start a new relationship, but then comes that same fight, the same words, and that same gut-wrenching feeling of disappointment. You swear this is the week you'll finally start running, eat clean, or learn that language, but then Sunday night rolls around, and you already know how it's going to end. It feels like a glitch in the matrix, a lifelong case of déjà vu. And it all leads to that one nasty question that spins in your head: is there something wrong with me? Welcome to Invisible Patterns. We're not here to point fingers or sell you cheap motivation. We're here to investigate. And our first case file is the mystery of your life's repeating loop. It's crucial to understand this: what you're experiencing isn't a bug in your personal system, it's a feature. It's the system working exactly as designed. Psychologist Dan McAdams, in his research on narrative identity, found that we all create a life story to figure out who we are. And just like any movie script, that story has recurring plot lines. We unconsciously cast ourselves in familiar roles and act out the same scenes over and over again. So, the issue isn't that you're broken. It's that you're following an invisible script. The first step of any good investigation is admitting that the script exists. It's not good or bad. It just is. It's what makes you turn down that familiar street even when you know it's a dead end. It saves you energy, but it costs you new destinations. This pattern is our first and most important clue. But it doesn't point to a personal weakness, it points to a fundamental principle of how our brains are wired. We call it our comfort zone, but it's something much deeper than that. It's a predictability trap, one that our brain builds not to make us feel good, but to make its own job easier. So, are you ready to take a look at the blueprints for your own personal prison? So, the architect of your personal prison. Sounds dramatic, right? But this architect is your own brain, and its primary motive isn't malice, it's just plain old efficiency. All that talk about getting out of your comfort zone completely misses the point. We're not drawn to that zone because it's so comfortable, we're drawn to it because it's predictable. Your brain is the most energy-efficient processor in the universe, using up to 20% of your body's total energy, and its number one job is to cut costs. And what's the biggest expense? Making new decisions. Every new action, every unfamiliar choice, is a massive cognitive load. This is exactly what Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman wrote about in his book, Thinking, Fast and Slow. He splits our thinking into two systems. System 2 is our inner analyst. It's slow, thoughtful, and burns a ton of energy. It's what you use when you're solving a complex problem or learning to drive. But System 1 is the autopilot. It's fast, intuitive, and most importantly, incredibly cheap to run. Repeating the same choice over and over is just letting System 1 take the wheel. It's like your daily commute: you don't think about the turns, you just drive. Now, imagine having to plot a brand new route every single day. Exhausting just thinking about it, isn't it? Well, your brain feels the same way. That's why it creates mental highways, paved neural pathways for every repetitive action, from brushing your teeth to choosing the same type of partner you always have that same drama with. And while you think you're just being lazy, your brain is actually being a brilliant efficiency expert. By the way, if you're noticing this channel is starting to become part of your System 1 routine and you're watching on autopilot, now's the perfect time to make a conscious decision and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next steps of our investigation. So, from a purely logical, energy-saving perspective, it all adds up. Repetition is efficient. But here's the million-dollar question: what if that efficient and easy path is paved not just with habit, but with pain? Why do we repeatedly choose a script that's guaranteed to lead to suffering? It seems like a new suspect has just entered the case, a ghost from the past. And its motives look nothing like saving energy. That ghost from the past we've been talking about, its logic is completely different. Picture a constant battle raging inside you. On one side, you have your rational brain, that genius accountant we talked about last time, obsessed with saving energy. But on the other side is your ancient, emotional brain, and it lives by a whole different set of rules. Its primary law isn't what's easy, it's what's familiar. Even if what's familiar is pain. Psychotherapist Jeffrey Young dedicated his entire career to this phenomenon, calling it early maladaptive schemas. In plain English, these are the emotional blueprints from our childhood, the deep-seated beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world that got wired in when we were most vulnerable. For example, if you were constantly criticized as a kid, you might have developed a defectiveness schema. Now, as an adult, your brain will unconsciously seek out situations and people that confirm this core belief. See? I really am not good enough. You find yourself in relationships with critical partners or picking jobs where you're totally undervalued. It's not because you're a masochist, it's because for your emotional brain, that feeling is home. It's the normal it grew up in. By replaying that old drama, it's like we're trying to finally win this time, but we keep using the same old losing script. By the way, if you're recognizing some of your own inner dialogue here or feel like we're talking directly to you, let us know in the comments. Sometimes just writing it down is the first step to dragging that ghost out into the daylight. But wait a second. If we have this old, destructive program, this emotional script, why doesn't our smart, rational brain, Kahneman's system 2, just step in and say, hold on, this is a terrible idea? Well, here's where it gets really interesting. It doesn't just fail to see it. It actively helps the ghost cover its tracks. It becomes its accomplice, twisting reality to make sure the old script always seems like the only logical choice. So, your brain is an accomplice. It's not some impartial judge weighing all the pros and cons, it's more like a prosecutor who's already decided on a suspect and is now just cherry-picking the evidence to fit the case. It's not looking for the truth, it's looking for validation. This powerful and insidious mechanism is called confirmation bias. It's our brain's tendency to systematically search for, interpret, and remember any information that confirms our existing beliefs. And anything that contradicts them. It gets ignored, dismissed, or nitpicked for 1,000 imaginary flaws. It works like a personalized reality filter. If your deep-seated emotional schema, that ghost from the past, is whispering, "I'm unlovable," then your confirmation bias turns into a bloodhound. It will sniff out any shred of proof. He didn't text back right away, see? I'm not important to him. She didn't laugh at your joke, yup, I'm boring. Meanwhile, the hundreds of moments where you were loved, valued, and needed are completely written off as a statistical fluke. Even back in the 17th century, the philosopher Francis Bacon pointed out that once the human mind adopts an opinion, it draws everything else in to support and agree with it. It's like typing, "Why doesn't my partner appreciate me?" into Google instead of asking, "What is the current state of our relationship?" You're going to get the exact answers you were looking for. By the way, if you recognize your own internal search engine in this, let us know with a like. It's a signal that we're on the right track with this investigation. But why? Why does our brain cling so desperately to these old, often painful, ideas? Because this bias isn't just protecting an old habit. It's protecting something far more fundamental, what we believe to be our personality, our very identity. And that brings us to the deepest level of our investigation, where a choice is no longer just an action, but a way of proving to yourself, over and over again, who you think you are. We've been digging deep inside ourselves, into our logic, our emotions, our personal stories, but what if the biggest player in this game isn't in your head at all, but literally right in front of you? Your choice to repeat that old script is often made long before you even start thinking. It's predetermined by your environment. Your surroundings aren't just a passive backdrop, they're an active director, placing props on the stage to trigger the actions they want. That phone on the pillow next to your bed isn't just a phone. It's a trigger that launches the "scroll social media until I pass out" script. It's the pack of cigarettes on the counter. The app icon on your home screen. The bottle of wine in the fridge you bought just to have it. In their book, Nudge, economist Richard Thaler and legal scholar Cass Sunstein called this choice architecture. Your life is like a building, and someone, often you, but unconsciously, has designed it so that some rooms are effortless to get to, while others are nearly impossible to reach. Making the unhealthy choice is easy, there's zero friction. But to make the healthy one, you have to overcome obstacles. And this isn't just about physical objects. It's your friends who always invite you to the same bar. It's your family, where it's normal to discuss problems but never successes. It's your social media feed, which knows exactly what content will make you stop scrolling and fall down the rabbit hole of comparison. Take a look around your room or workspace right now. What are the invisible rails guiding you down that same old path? If you spot one, drop it in the comments. Let's build a collection of these sneaky directors. But here's the question. The environment sets up triggers like landmines on a field. So what makes us step on them? Why does the sight of an app icon or a call from that person set off a chain reaction in our brain that feels impossible to stop? There has to be a powerful internal mechanism that responds to these external cues. And there is. It's a chemical dictator that promises us a reward, even if all it delivers in the end is disappointment. It's not the pleasure hormone. It's the anticipation hormone. And its name is dopamine. We think we're chasing pleasure, but that's the biggest lie we tell ourselves, and the main culprit behind this lie is dopamine. But not the dopamine you've read about in pop sci articles. It's not the happiness or pleasure hormone. Neuroscientists like Stanford's Andrew Huberman are tired of repeating it. Dopamine is the hormone of motivation, anticipation, and pursuit. It doesn't give you the high from getting a like, it gives you that jolt of energy the moment you hear the notification and reach for your phone. It's a chemical promise. What if there's something good this time? It's the engine that makes you get off the couch and walk to the fridge, not the reward you find inside. This is exactly why we repeat things we don't even enjoy. You're not refreshing your social media feed for the 100th time because it's interesting, but because your brain remembers that the action of refreshing could lead to a reward, a funny video or an important message. Dopamine doesn't create pleasure, it creates an itch that you desperately try to scratch by performing the familiar action. Boredom or anxiety is the signal. A trigger from your environment is the start button. Dopamine is the fuel that shoves you down the familiar tracks toward an action that just quiets the itch for a little while, until the next time. It's an endless dopamine loop that feeds on itself. If you know this itch and you're looking for a way to soothe it instead of just scratching it, let us know with a like. It'll be a signal between us that we're not alone in this investigation. But here's the main question. This dopamine reaction to a trigger feels automatic, almost unavoidable. But why? Why is it that when a trigger goes off, we only see one path, the one leading to the familiar action? Why don't we notice the 10 other doors and opportunities around us? It's as if, in that moment, we're forced to wear blinders, and our world shrinks down to a single repeat button. It looks like our attention has a major blind spot. You got it. It's like we're forced to wear blinders. The moment that dopamine itch demands to be scratched, your world shrinks down to a single option. Dozens of other doors, other possibilities, simply cease to exist. You don't just ignore them, you literally can't see them. And that's not some poetic metaphor. It's exactly how our attention works when the brain flips into energy saver mode. Your attention is the most limited and valuable resource you have, and as we know, your brain is an incredible penny pincher. It refuses to spend precious energy scanning the entire horizon of possibilities when there's one proven, automatic reaction right there. We're right back to Daniel Kahneman's System 1. Our inner autopilot is built for exactly this scenario. It doesn't ask questions. It doesn't look for novelty. Its job is to serve up the fastest, cheapest response to a familiar trigger. When you feel stressed, System 1 doesn't offer you a multiple-choice menu. Should we meditate? Go for a walk? Call a friend? No. It instantly pulls the most worn-out script from memory, open the fridge, or refresh the feed. All other options are in your attentional blind spot. To even notice them takes effort. You have to consciously fire up that slow, energy-hungry system too. But who has the time or energy for that when the dopamine system is already screaming, go? Now. Think about it for a second, what alternative door is in your blind spot right now? The next time you reach for your phone out of boredom, what else could you possibly do in that moment? If you can think of even one option, share it in the comments and let us know what door you just opened for yourself. But this raises the biggest paradox of all. Okay, so we don't see the alternatives in the moment. But what about afterwards? The consequences still hit. We feel like crap after mindless scrolling, we regret that late-night snack, we get disappointed in the relationship all over again. We have the negative feedback. Any living creature learns from pain. You touch a hot stove, you don't do it again. So why doesn't this fundamental learning mechanism work with our repeating choices? What if the problem isn't us, but that the feedback system itself is broken? That is the perfectly logical question. You touch a hot stove, you don't touch it again. So why do we keep sticking our hand in the same mental fire, expecting a different result? The answer is simple and frustrating: the feedback system is broken. With a hot stove, it works perfectly, the action and the consequence are immediate, undeniable, and painful. But with our repeating choices, it's the exact opposite. There are two major malfunctions. The first and most critical one is the delay. The consequences of your choice don't happen right away. The hangover comes in the morning, not the moment you order that fifth cocktail. The extra weight shows up after months, not after one donut. A ruined relationship is the result of hundreds of tiny, toxic actions, not a single fight. Your brain, which is wired for immediate gratification, simply cannot build a solid link between feels good now and feels awful later. The second malfunction is the ambiguity. The negative outcome is rarely tied to one specific action. Which exact cigarette caused the cancer? Which specific purchase pushed you into debt? Which particular lie destroyed the trust? It's impossible to pinpoint. And that gives our inner lawyer the perfect loophole: well, it wasn't this one time that ruined everything, so one more can't hurt. Your brain never gets a clear, direct signal saying, stop. This action caused that pain. Instead, it gets a vague, delayed background noise of anxiety and regret that it can't connect to a specific trigger. And if there's no clear connection, there's no learning. The pattern never gets fixed. What repeating action in your life has the biggest gap between the feels good now and the hurts so bad later? If you're up for it, share it in the comments. Just acknowledging that delay is a powerful step in itself. So, we've completed the full investigation. We started with that simple feeling of déjà vu. We uncovered the motives of our brain's lazy wiring, met the ghosts of our past, and exposed the biased prosecutor in our own minds. We saw how our identity holds us hostage and how our environment sets the traps. We figured out how dopamine deceives us and how our own attention betrays us. And now, we see why even pain can't seem to stop the cycle. We've gathered all the evidence. We've put all the suspects in their place. But what do we do with all this? Just knowing why you're stuck isn't the same as getting out. In our final chapter, we're not going to give you another 5 easy steps list. We're going to arm you with an investigator's toolkit, so you can learn how to finally crack your own code. Alright, case closed. The evidence is in, the motives are clear. But now what? Knowing why you're locked in a room isn't the same as having the key to the door. And right now, seeing this whole system laid out, from our lazy brains to the broken feedback loop, it's easy to feel powerless. It can feel like the whole system is rigged against you. But that's not true. We're not going to hand you a universal skeleton key. Instead, we're giving you an investigator's toolkit, so you can become the lead detective in the case of your own life. Tool number 1, the investigator's log. Not a feelings diary, a log. Start taking notes like a detached crime scene investigator. What was the trigger? What time was it? What was your emotional state the minute before? What action did you take? How did you feel right after? What about an hour later? No judgment. No, I messed up again. Just the cold, hard facts. After a week, you'll see that invisible pattern we've been talking about, right there on paper. Seeing it means separating it from yourself. It stops being, this is just who I am, and becomes, this is a mechanism that works like this. Tool number 2, identify the prime suspect. Look through your log and think back on our investigation. Which mechanism is the main player in your specific case? Is it a ghost from the past, an emotional schema that needs validation? Is it your choice architecture, with your phone just a little too close? Maybe it's an identity loop, you're just playing a familiar role. Or is it all about that attentional blind spot? Once you've identified your prime suspect, you'll know where to focus your efforts. And tool number 3, the most important one, the controlled experiment. This isn't a new life starting Monday. It's a small, almost tiny experiment. Based on your investigation, create a nudge for yourself, just like Richard Thaler suggested. If your enemy is your environment, run an experiment. What happens if I start charging my phone in another room? If the problem is the dopamine loop, ask yourself, what if, when I feel bored, I do 3 squats instead of opening social media? This isn't about fighting yourself. It's about collecting data. Didn't work? Great, that's data too. The experiment showed the hypothesis was wrong. Time to try a new one. By the way, if you think this approach, noticing, analyzing, and experimenting, is a lot more powerful than just telling yourself to get it together, then subscribe to the channel. We'll keep investigating the most complex cases in human behavior together. Patterns aren't evil. They're the language your brain speaks. The question isn't how to live without them, that's impossible. The question is, who's the author? Is it the conscious, thinking you? Or is it a combination of ancient instincts, childhood wounds, and random environmental triggers? You can't erase old neural pathways. But you can build new, more interesting routes. The investigation into why you repeat the same life choices is now closed. Your own investigation is just beginning.